Greetings, my name is Brandon Jennings, 2 Iota Phi, Springfield 3, Dogs Award Line. I am the current boss list of the Iota Phi chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. This year marks our 100-year celebration, and we are extremely proud of that. 1911 is when this fraternity was founded. Our chapter was founded in 1925. We have well over 100 members, financial members within this chapter. We do a lot of things for our community in the city of Pittsburgh. So what we'd like to do for you today is share some of our stories with our chapter members. Some of our members are old, some of our members are young. But this is what makes our chapter unique, because we have that fellowship, we have built that bridge, and we kept that camaraderie, and this is what's important. Our main focus is to service our community and make sure that we handle all of our mandated programs. But stay tuned, because a lot of our brothers will be talking about their stories, why they chose this fraternity, what was their fondest memory in this fraternity. So I'm sure you will appreciate what's coming up. Thank you. Greetings. I'm sitting here with 2 stellar members of this chapter, Mr. James Boyd and Mr. Bill Edmondson. These are 2 of our elder brothers, and they show us a lot of wisdom. So I'd like for them to share their stories with you guys. And we're going to start off with Brother Boyd here. But Brother Boyd, what year and what year were you initiated, and what college did you go to?
I went to Fayetteville State University. I was initiated in 1953, February of 1953. I was the second on the line of 3.
Okay. Wow. So what do you do? I understand you played basketball.
Yeah, I played basketball in high school at the house.
At the house, Westinghouse, okay.
And at Fayetteville State.
Okay.
I was also inducted into the Hall of Fame in Fayetteville for basketball and football.
That's what we do here in this chapter. You know, these guys here, they play ball, they boast, they pound their chest. What were some of your fondest memories of Omega Psi Phi?
Oh, one of the fondest memories that I had while I was at Fayetteville State was that in my junior year, we had a formal, and we were all in tails.
Okay.
And we were the top of the campus that year.
Sharp.
Sharp as a tack.
Sharp as a tack. Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. Okay, I'm also sitting here with Brother Bill Edmondson. Brother Edmondson, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother.
Okay.
Brother Boston.
Let us know what year you were initiated, what chapter, and what school you went to.
Initiated in spring of 1950, Hampton University, and Gamma Epsilon was my chapter.
Okay.
I was number 13, dog 13 out of 21.
Wow. What were some of your fondest memories of being an Omega man during that time?
Well, being an Omega man in Hampton Omega was the fraternity. We had other fraternities on the campus.
Right.
But Omega was the one to be in, and the ladies liked the Omega brothers.
Well, can't deny that. We can't deny that.
But while I was there, I won't say it's my fondest memories, but it could be as being a Q and being with all the brothers. Going over, I tell you, I didn't like carrying that brick though.
Oh, I hear you.
You know about that.
Right, right. We won't talk too much about that. What made, and both of you guys can chime in, what made you choose Omega Psi Phi fraternity during that time? I mean,
I tell you that it's really funny. All the people that I hung with before I went to college became Omega man.
Okay.
When I didn't know anything about fraternities when I was growing up. But I guess it was the people that I hung with, we had similar ideas and so forth, and it ended up that we all went Omega, and without any
hesitation.
right.
How about you,
It was pretty much the same thing. My brother Boyd talked about playing basketball. I was a swimmer at Hampton.
Okay.
I swam for 3 years, and I was captain of the swimming team my senior year. And when they have the spring rush, everybody comes out for prospective members, and practically, I call myself a jock. You know, we hung with the football players, the basketball players, around the gym a lot.
Right.
And so a lot of those fellows were already Qs, and you just go along with the people you associate with. Yeah.
Okay.
I also held a couple of offices in the chapter at Hampton. I was a keeper of finance and then keeper of recs and seal. After leaving Hampton, I was in another chapter before I came to Iota Phi. I was in Trenton, New Jersey with Delta Upsilon for
Okay.
25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been, and all those years I've been financial, brother.
Right, great. Brother Boyd, what do you feel is most impressive about Iota Phi chapter? I mean, what makes us unique in your opinion?
I think in this particular chapter,
Yes.
everyone gets along well together.
Mhm.
And it's a mixture of different ages. Like I'm a senior member now. We just brought in a group with younger people and with some older people too. So we have a good mixture of men that get along well together.
Brother Edmondson, let me have your take on that. What do you think what makes this chapter unique?
I've always felt that to have a strong chapter, you've got to have diversity in terms of ages,
Mhm.
of occupations, outlook on life, and of course now I'm so proud of who we have in the chapter because we have brothers in here in all walks of life.
That's
We
correct.
got bankers, we got doctors, we got lawyers, we got undertakers, you name it.
Graphic
We
design
got graphic
instructors.
designer instructors. And so it makes you proud to be part of
It does, it
and,
really
and,
does.
and that's the strength of Iota Phi.
And we also have retirees.
That's right. That's right. That is correct.
Yeah.
Brothers, this marks our 100-year celebration. This illustrious fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. What does it mean to you guys to experience this? I know I'm overwhelmed. I mean, it's great. I can't wait for the conclave. It's just going to be something to see, a sea of brothers with like ideas, and this is our 100-year anniversary. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's great. We have survived all these years, and we started with practically nothing, and we have over 100,000 members.
That is correct.
So we're still growing. So it's great to be a part of that.
That's right.
Well, when you think the fraternity grew out of the idea and vision of 3 undergraduates at Hampton with an advisor who was one of the instructors there, and from that to grow and go through all the times that we've gone through, hard times in terms in this country, and to still survive as an organization, I think it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
It's wonderful.
And that's Howard, brother. You
I
said
know.
Hampton. You're so proud of Hampton. You mentioned
That wasn't a Freudian slip. I know about Howard. Did I say Hampton for real?
Yeah, yes, you did.
All right, let's set the record straight.
That's it. Brothers, set out a hop. No, I'm just kidding. But you guys have any poems or songs that you're fond of that you may want to share with our viewing audience? Now keep in mind, use your best voice. I know I can sing.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I
Go
can't.
ahead.
I can't sing. I can't sing.
There was one when we were online that I remember, and I sing quite often when I'm in the shower,
Okay,
and that's Sons of Blood and Thunder.
let's hear it. Show that shirt there. Sons of Blood and Thunder.
Sons of blood and thunder. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Jim. Cut it out.
Sons of blood and thunder, we will not go under, but we'll stand against the foe. Do your work sincerely, and you'll not pay dearly with bruised blood and broken bone. Forward, forward, on against the foe. Onward, onward, though your butts be roaring so, though big brothers working and late hours like us carry on to victory. That's it.
All right. And you've heard that from 2 of our greatest members in this fraternity, and that is Eru. Thank you, gentlemen. Greetings, brothers. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you one of our eldest members of Iota Phi chapter, Mr. Leo Woods. How you doing today, Brother Woods?
Good evening, good evening. How are you?
All right, all right. He always has that distinct good evening, bass in his voice. That's what I practice on that at night. Brother Woods,
Yes.
what year were you initiated into this illustrious fraternity? What chapter and what college did you go to?
Oh, brother. That's way down the road there, peace. I think it was 1938,
1938.
new Psi chapter of Omega Psi Phi, Virginia State College,
All right.
which
all right.
is Virginia State University today.
Brother Woods, why did you choose Omega Psi Phi fraternity? Just curious.
Well, During the visitations that we had from one fraternity seeking you as an individual into their fraternity, I found that Omega seems to be Leo Woods, period.
Okay.
And
Like-
everybody thought I was going to go Alpha. But Alpha wasn't Leo Woods.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's almost using profanity. And we don't need that on this documentary. But continue, brother.
But I went to most of the smokers that we had and finally made up my mind that I would try to join Omega Psi Phi.
Okay.
And in fact, I loved Omega Psi Phi so much that I practically went over twice.
Wow. Did y'all hear that?
I was supposed to have gone over in 37,
Mm-hmm.
but the fall of 37. And I messed around and I couldn't come up with the funds.
Mm-hmm.
And what was so amazing about the initiation funds back then compared to those today,
Yeah. I'll say.
$55. That included everything.
Wow.
But I couldn't
$55.
get $55.
Things were tight back then. That's
Yes, it was.
understandable. It was tight. Yeah.
And I begged my dad, mother. I wrote to Dad. I said, "Dear Dad, no one, no fun, your son." And he wrote back to me, "Too bad, too sad, your dad." So I left it at that.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, still had my thoughts of joining the fraternity. And when it was brought out to light during the spring of 38, I managed to get my monies together and
Mm-hmm.
went across, and I think it was March of 38.
Wow.
But at the same time, we were on Secret Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Prior, I think it was during December, we went out on Secret Pro.
Okay.
So that's the way she goes.
That's where she goes. What were some of your fondest memories? Being an Omega man, a young Omega man on the yard.
Well, one thing about being in on at least trying to join the fraternity, undergrad fraternity back in those days, it was fun, and then at the same time it was kind of brutal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we don't need to go into any details with that.
That's right. But when you came out on Open Pro, and that would be about 3 or 4 weeks prior
Mm-hmm.
to the regular fraternity program,
Okay.
accepting neophytes.
Right.
And we went through various little, I don't know what you would call them, but anyway, you either made them or they broke you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You go out, when your first day of Open Pro, you'd be dressed one way.
Mm-hmm.
The following week, you'd be in another dress. as far as clothing was concerned. You'd be out on the campus, and you may be doing something that you thought was right, but at the same time, one of the big brothers would call you over, chastise you, and first thing you know, that night, the grievance vote would be passed around, and here, Brother Woods, such and such a thing on the campus. I told him to take his dessert to my girlfriend in the cafeteria. He failed to do that.
Oh, wow.
So, Brother Woods, that'll cost you 10 tonight to begin with. And at first I said, 10? 10 what? Just be at the frat room right after the meal.
That's right.
Go to the frat room right after the meal. Everybody be surrounded along the wall. There were 28 of us on probation at that particular time. And I was number 26. And you dare not have any brother fall along the line. You were chained together, arm in arm. Everything that you did, the 28 of you did it together.
Did it as one.
That's it.
Brother Woods, let's talk about our chapter, Iota Phi. What makes our chapter unique, in your opinion?
What I like about our chapter is the brotherhood that is shown amongst the family. By that I mean we do things together as a group, not as an individual person. And the older brothers and the younger brothers, they intermingle with each other and so forth. There may be a harsh word said every now and then as far as the group is concerned.
Terms of endearment.
But at the same time, tomorrow is another day.
Business as usual.
That's right. And there's no hard feelings. You can get together, you can make suggestions and so forth. And whatever is so positive is the way that we can come together, stay together, and the prize is the success of the project that we have encountered.
That's true, that's great. This marks our 100th year, our centennial year.
Yes.
And you're here. You're here to experience that. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you. When I look back on yesterday and sit back and think about today, I say to myself, I say to people concerned, I'm happy. I'm happy to be still amongst the young men and the older men and say thank you for your help and your words of wisdom.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Brother Woods. I appreciate this time.
Well, brother, I think an awful lot of you. I sit back from time to time and kind of reminisce. Although I really didn't know you at first. And after working around the kinds of things that you do, especially the Mardi Gras, I became attached. And as I told my family, if I were on an island and needed someone to come and share their thoughts and entertain my thoughts, I would ask for you.
Thank you, man. I'm proud. I'm honored that you would even think of me in that way. It's an honor to be in your presence. You have taught me so many things, your wisdom. It's just, it's advantageous for me to learn from gentlemen like yourself and to keep that cycle going so that we can teach our younger brothers who come through Iota Phi and teach them our work ethics, teach them our passion for our community, for our people, for our fraternity. And I've learned it from you. So I really appreciate those kind words. I'm really touched behind those words.
Well, brother, I thank you, and I would like to say one more thing.
Sure.
As far as the kinds of things that I admire and I like to come forth with are things that I have been taught by my parents.
Okay. By all means.
I was the oldest of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the responsibility as far as my brothers and sisters are concerned. I'm the oldest, and my mother would say, Leo, you in charge. And I used to frown upon that. And there were 4 others that came. Every time there's something to do, Leo. Leo. And I didn't really understand that until I got into college. Then I realized that there were responsibilities at home, and my mother and father had enough foresight to see and make me responsible for the activities at home. So, as far as education is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to apply what I had been taught. And that what has given me the ambition to work with youngsters with minimum ability,
Mm-hmm.
better known as the special child. And that's one of the reasons why that I have been so successful. And then on the other hand, intertwine and work with folks and brothers within the fraternity and let them know that I too am concerned and willing to come forth and share my knowledge and whatever.
Wow, that's profound. That's profound. So your parents had a lot to do with the man you are now.
That's right.
That's right. You know, they saw that leadership in you at a young age. And here you are, you lead our chapter. And we learn off of you the same things that you've learned from your parents. I'm learning from you. You know, you instilled these leadership values and this hard work ethic. So I owe a lot to you. This chapter owes a lot to you, as do you owe a lot to your parents.
Yes.
So,
Well, I always thought that what I had, or what I have been given, it goes back to my early years, and it was absorbed and never forgotten. And I'm a person that I don't talk that much, but I'm a great observer.
that's right, but Brother Woods, when you talk, the entire chapter listens. We all listen, because we know you have wisdom. You have some things to say.
Well, could be true, but I listen because I want to learn, and you can't learn if you're running off at the mouth all the time.
That's true. That is true, definitely.
So I give credit to my early home education.
Thank you, Brother Woods. Appreciate your knowledge and your time.
The pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
And any time that you feel that we should sit down and discuss and bring forth, and you ask, this is what we can do.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Dr. Elmer Heyman. This is one of the hardest working brothers in this chapter. I have learned a lot from this brother here. He has showed me how to work with individuals, how to conduct business and handle business. I've learned a lot off of a lot of brothers within this chapter. So right now we're going to chat with our brother. We call him Doc. What's going on, Doc? How you doing?
Great.
Good. Doc, let the people know, let the brothers know what year you were initiated into this chapter.
I was initiated in 1972, and I was invited by Brother Woods. Brother Woods and I spent a lot of time when I was a student in Westinghouse,
Okay.
and he was coach at Shenley for track and field. And I saw how those young men then really had a person that they really called coach. You know,
Okay.
they had a real positive relationship with Brother Woods. After being invited by Brother Woods to come into Omega, he brought me right to the forefront.
Okay.
And I think after his succession as bossless, I became bossless.
Okay.
And we traveled to second district church sleep conferences, learned a lot about the fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
We worked also on a number of community projects. I know we go down and help him with the corner of Lincoln Leamington
Okay.
to pull those weeds, sweep up the trash. And that became a real focal issue there. And then at that time also, during the summer, Brother Wood's wife became ill in Florida. So he was spending a lot of time there and not doing the community work he did before. And I can tell you that when I started cutting grass and, you know, pulling weeds and whatever, I came home with the bed.
Oh, I understand.
He had a work ethic, and he still does have a work ethic.
Yes, absolutely.
But again, you know, knowing all the things that the fraternity needs, he was my guiding light to see not just becoming a member, but participating and bringing your talents into the fraternity. And that was in '72. Was it '74 when I left here? And he was in Florida today. Curtis Walker took over my end, and I moved to Alaska. But I always would come home summers and Christmas and make the Christmas parties and kept that relationship. And over the years, there's been a lot of people coming and going.
Right.
And just as you observed, you can be made bosses in a minute.
Right. That's true.
You have to step up. But you've been through enough. I mean, you know, I watched before you came in. You would always pick up a hand and you do the caricatures. Anything that needed to be done, you were going to do. And Marty already knew, but I knew that there was much more you could give us, and you've given us a lot.
I appreciate
in
that.
terms of now you're one of the brothers that have to be reasonable and see how business is conducted. So
Correct, and I've learned a lot from brothers like you within this chapter. But Doc, what keeps you going? Because you are non-stop. Anything that needs to go on, you are the front runner, you're on the front line. What keeps you going? I mean, you really love this chapter, and you love this fraternity. I mean, you just,
but also
what keeps you going?
it's the fact that I feel a lot more comfortable because people have really picked up the challenge and moved with it. Before it was, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that.
Right.
And things that we had done traditionally and done very well, we just weren't doing.
Right.
And so, but I think we have men within the fraternity that will take this to the next level.
Right. That leads me into another segue. What do you feel is the most unique thing about Iota Phi? I mean, what is your opinion? Our chapter, Iota Phi.
Well, it's always been said that we have a unique body of men, and I think that these men understand that an organization like ours has to take all of our talents. And I think, you know, educators, bankers, whatever, and bring that expertise to the chapter. And I know that sometimes we waffle with that, but certainly the fact that we have across the board representation. We have young men, we have,
That's true.
you know, and what I see evolving is the fact that, I remember Lee when said, take it, you know, take it and make it work. And you guys are taking it and making it work. And that's what counts. You know, to hear about the golf outing, you know, something unique that.
Right.
And Mike working on the Mardi Gras on the boat ride already.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
And just that kind of spirit to make it want to work.
Right. Our chapter seems to just work all year round. It's just a never-ending cycle, and that's where a lot of that enthusiasm and that energy comes in. One more last thing before I let you go. This marks our 100th year of this illustrious fraternity. 100 years, 1911. How do you feel about that, to be a part of something so big and so strong, of this magnitude? I mean, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, you look at it a number of ways. You know, I was, you know, when I left here and went to Alaska, we didn't have a chapter. We just called ourselves the Arctic Brass. So in Anchorage and Fairbanks, that was our chapter, the Arctic Brass, and we'd like meet each other in different cities and different events. It's been a great experience. I'll tell you the fact that it certainly complemented my life as an educator, and certainly having people like Leo and Jim Boyd, and I countless numbers that have gone on before us. It's been a festive life within Omega, and I couldn't see why I wouldn't do this all over again. I wouldn't probably, but you have those LBs that really take you down the road, and certainly it was great for us because we never knew that we'd end up where we're going to end up.
Right.
And come and go, and come back. And I think I was really seeing the kind of things that Leo had talked about. Getting a house was so unrealistic. So we could do these things on Thursdays.
Right.
That was one of the greatest achievements. And
What year did we get the house? I mean, just for the viewers, for our viewers, just to let them know.
Leo, we got this house what? 90. Yeah, it was 90 because he also looked at another house, and that house is was taken by another organization.
Okay.
But Leo always wanted this house to represent what we were about. Every community activity, when we have one coming up Saturday,
Right.
Was for this community. And people really, we don't do a mass publicity campaign, but people in the community know when we give these things.
Exactly.
And they expect us to give these things. So it's just to see the kids' faces, they've been with us all these years.
Right.
We have taken this community on, and I think this is what we're all about. We could have gone there and there and there and there, but Leo always wanted and felt that we owed something to the community. It could have been not just here; it could have been anywhere. We have several communities, but this is where we ended up, and we're not moving anywhere.
No,
but people do know that the things that we provide for this community are well appreciated.
That's true. That is true. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Greetings. I'm sitting here with my brother, Robert L. Williams. What's going on, Big Rob?
What's up, Brother Brian?
Better known as Lurch.
Absolutely.
Bro, let the brothers know what year you were initiated, what chapter, and what school you went to.
I went to Hampton Institute. I was initiated in the Gamma Epsilon chapter in 1982, and I was number 1 on my line out of 13.
Bruh, how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4", he was an ace. How about that? So, Rob, what were some of your fondest memories of being a young man and a member of this fraternity on the campus? And keep it clean, please.
Well, yeah, well, that's a good question. I think my fondest memories go back to, we have a tradition on our campus of every day at 12 o'clock and at 5 o'clock, all the brothers would meet underneath of our tree. We had a tree which sat outside of the big cafeteria. And, back during our era in the 80s, you'd find 25, 30 brothers dressed in purple and gold at 12 and 5 every day. And it was a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Well, I can imagine, definitely. Rob, you were bossless in this chapter. What year were you at bossless in this chapter?
2009.
2009.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
That is probably the toughest job that you can have from a political standpoint, but the easiest job, I think, from the work standpoint, if you've had a great crew behind you. I had the privilege of having a great vice bossless and an excellent KRS and a keeper finance that were absolutely incredible. And the success that we had during my tenure could not have been done without those men. They put a lot of time in, a lot of effort. It gave me an opportunity to, I think, do the kinds of things that you really have to do as a bossless, and going out, getting outside of the area in which you are the bossless in, and helping to coordinate with projects and generating interest and stuff like that.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting with another one of my brothers, Brother John Holloway. This brother right here has taught me a lot as well. When I started, I actually joined the golf committee, and he was actually a chair for several years in the past and showed me the ropes. John has a very cool and professional disposition. Cool as the other side of the pillow. And I learned so much about working with other individuals, meeting deadlines, making sure that we accomplish our goals and our objectives. And he taught me how to chair the golf outing, and I listened to his leadership, his instructions, along with a few other brothers, and it was successful. So welcome, brother.
Thank you. Thank
Brother, can you let the brothers know what year you were initiated in the chapter?
Yes, I was initiated in June of 1984, Iota Phi chapter, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Our line was 3 to white right way, and I was number 2 on that line, and my line name was Smiley, because when I was online I had a bad habit of smiling a lot. So Brother Butler would always clean my face.
Okay, so I guess we can all attest to that. When you in that situation, you may not want to smile. It's nice to smile now. What were some of your fondest memories of just being an Omega man in this chapter?
When I came into this chapter, I mean, it's come a long way, Brother Bosses. When I came into the chapter, we were still meeting in individuals' homes.
Okay.
And each month we would go to another brother's home, wherever that home would be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it would be in Penn Hills, sometimes it would be, Upper St. Clair, Homewood, or even as far away as Aliquippa.
Wow.
But we would go to those meetings, and it was always fun because you got to see the brother's family in the home, and then we socialized there, and after that we'd always go out to local establishments in whatever community we're at. So
Okay.
it was a nice evening in fellowship. Then from there we graduated to, we had a brother, Canon Julius Carter, who was a priest at Holy Cross Church in Homewood.
Okay.
And then we started meeting at his church.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of funny because we would meet there, and we would meet in the basement, and one thing he would say is, so we could just act ourselves, and then after the meeting, we could drink in the church. So that was a strange situation.
I want to let the younger brothers know that that's what happened, but it is huge. It is history. It's a part of our
Right.
culture.
And then after that, we, in fact, I was vice bossless, and when we finally got enough money to purchase this house. So that was a proud achievement. I was KRS before that, and then moved into vice bossless, and we had a keeper of finance at that time, Jerry Muhammad.
Okay.
And we raised about $50,000 just off of the events we do now,
Wow.
and we were able to purchase this facility.
Oh, that's great. In your opinion, what makes our chapter unique?
I think one of the things that I find the uniqueness of this chapter is the composition of the brothers of all ages. I mean, there's young brothers, there's intermediate brothers, brothers in their 30s and 40s, brothers in their 50s and 60s as myself, brothers in their 70s and 80s and 90s. And the one thing that I really like is the older brothers set the tone. Brother Boyd, Brother Woods, Brother Edmondson, they're out all the time. And these brothers got 60, 70 years service,
Wow.
And so they set the tone, and so when you see them work, everybody under them chips in. So I just like the atmosphere of the chapter. I like the work ethic of the chapter, and the resolve.
100 years for us, our centennial year. How do you feel about that, being a part of something so strong and just so massive?
I was thinking about that earlier as I heard some other brothers sitting in this chair. And one of the things that I wish that could happen is I wish the founders were able to come back and just see the organization that they have built. I mean, both national and international, to see what the organization is into, some of the celebrations, some of the triumphs we've had, some of the downfalls we had.
Right.
So I mean, that's one thing I would like, if I could, just to have them experience it with us.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with two distinguished gentlemen, part of our chapter, Brother Ron Lawrence and Brother Gary Thomas. What's unique about these two brothers is that they were initiated in 2011. They are from the line, the Centennials. So, Ron, first of all, how you doing, brother?
Great,
Good,
fantastic. Good to see you again.
Great, likewise. How do you feel about being a part of an organization where this year marks 100 years in celebration? How do you feel?
Well, it's fantastic. It's kind of an eerie feeling because you can't think of, being there for that centennial, for that 100th year, and and also just coming in, at that period. But it's a great feeling, and it's good being around all the brothers and the flavor that's out there among everybody trying to get together. I'm just waiting to go down to the centennial and have a great time.
Great. What number were you on your line?
Number 7.
Number 7. And what was your line? What is your line name?
My name is the Centennials.
No, but your personal line name.
The Superfly.
Superfly. You see why we call him Superfly, right? Smooth as a line of silk.
No.
Brother Gary, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, bro?
All right. Gary, what number were you on your line?
Number 4.
Number 4?
Yes, sir.
And what's your line name?
Recon.
Recon. Tell them why they call you Recon.
They call me Recon based on my military background. I did 10 years in the military, U.S. Army. Did time over in Desert Storm with the 3rd Armored Battalion, 3rd Armored Division, 2nd Brigade. So everybody knew my military background, so when I got online, that's the name they gave me.
Great. How do you feel about joining this chapter during our centennial year?
Honored, blessed, because like I said, when I actually came as an interest in Omega Psi Phi, I didn't really know if I was worthy, I've always wanted to be an Omega man, but I wanted to do it for all the right reasons.
Right.
And when I was younger, I felt I wasn't in place, my life wasn't in place or in order
Right.
to make that step.
Mhm.
So once I returned to Pittsburgh from Virginia, I knew it was something that I wanted to do, and I was dedicated.
Mhm.
And I went on and did what I had to do.
Greetings, brothers. I am sitting here with two distinguished brothers, two members of our chapter, Brother Brian Holland and Brother Devin Patterson. I'm going to start with Brian Holland. We call him B. Hall. First and foremost, this is one of the brothers when I first crossed, he pulled me over immediately. It's like, come here. This is what you need to learn. This is what you need to know. This, that, and the other. I've learned a lot off this brother because Brian has a cool disposition as well. He's very knowledgeable about fraternity business, about the history of our fraternity, just about interacting with people in general. And he's one of the guys that in '03 when I crossed, I really respected and appreciated him taking the time to really instill some values and taught me about the culture of the chapter and just the culture of the frat in general. So B. Hall, what's happening, brother?
How you doing, good brother?
Okay. B, can you let the brothers know what year you were initiated into this fraternity?
I was initiated at the age of 20 in 1992. I know there are a couple of brothers in this room who are a little older than me, but being that this is 2011, I have 19 years in. So I basically came into the fraternity as a puppy and basically went from a young man to a man in this organization, as I'm sure some brothers in this room can attest to.
Right.
As I've grown in this organization and this fraternity of ours in this chapter, I took a lot of things for granted or didn't appreciate being a bruh. I was happy when I first crossed, but the more and more I get into it, the more I just love being a bruh and what this chapter stands for and what this organization stands for. So those people out there that say Q Psi Phi till the day we die, that's real talk.
Devin, First of all, what's going on, brother?
How you?
How you doing? Let the brothers know what year you were initiated into this chapter, your line name, and I'll get back to you too, please, and find out your line name, your LBs, and all that good stuff too. But give us some information.
My name is Devin Patterson. I was initiated into Iota Phi in spring of 2004, which means I'm still relatively young in the fraternity. So when I came into the organization, I was already an established man. But I believe that Omega Psi Phi has made me a better man. The things that I've learned since I've completed this journey and become a member, they literally have changed my life. Brandon actually mentioned that he looks to B. Holland, as we call him, as a personal resource of knowledge and information. It's ironic because we were just outside and I was talking to him about a situation. I was trying to get some wisdom on how to address the situation. He's one of the individuals that I view as being an older or a big brother in the fraternity or the organization.
I ain't 40 yet, so I ain't old.
And one of the things about this organization, it doesn't necessarily have to do with your chronological age in terms of your years in the fraternity, because I'm older than him, but he's older than me in the fraternity. The other question was my line name. My line name was changed. I'm not going to mention my line name on camera, but it was changed to Bishop by Tarzan and the late great Tone Scott. Because my line name was not an appropriate name for a man of Omega Psi Phi. I'll leave that there.
What was the name of your line?
The name of our line was called the Seven Sons of Thunder.
Okay. And B. Holland, what was the name of your line and your line name?
Oh, the name of my line was Two the Hard Way. I was a deuce and I was a tail on the line. I do not disclose my line name, period, for anyone. Because my Dean Ramon Hart named me, and if he wants to disclose what it is, that's on him. But for those who don't know, I don't tell.
Fret not, folks. We will get that information. We will definitely get that information because that's just how I roll. Brothers, this is 100 years for us in our fraternity,
Yes,
and
it is.
we are a part of this centennial celebration, something so massive. How do you brothers feel about that? I'll start with you, Dylan.
It's first off, it's a tremendous honor to be a part of an organization that its founders had the foresight and the wisdom to know that this organization would have an impact 100 years later. And to be a part of it and to be alive of this history-making event, just in African American history, I'm just proud to be a part of it. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for any Omega man that's living. I mean, none of us will ever have this opportunity again. The next 100 years, I mean, none of us will be here. So this is a pinnacle in our organization and Black history, and I'm just happy and so proud to be a part of it.
Yo, your take on that?
It's humbling, is the best word I can use to describe it. The camera doesn't see it, but I'm looking at a member that's in this fraternity who pledged in 1938 and is older than my mother. He was around at the time that I crossed, and he'll tell you, I begged him to give me old history books, and he gave them to me and asked me to pass them on to someone who begs me later on in life about those history books. So just being around his presence, it's just a very humbling experience, period. This is one of the greatest, if not the greatest organization that I've ever been a part of. And to think that there was one graduate advisor and 3 undergrads, and this whole thing started like that, and it has grown into what it's grown in, and I'm a part of it, and I got into it when I was 20 years old, is truly humbling.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Honorable Livingstone Johnson. How you doing this evening, brother?
Just fine.
All right.
Good to see you, Brother Boston.
Brother, can you share with the brothers the year you went over, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, the chapter?
I went over in the fall of 1946 at Alpha Chapter, Howard University.
Okay, great, great. So why did you choose Omega Psi Phi?
I had no choice. My father was an Omega Psi Phi fraternity member, and my older brother, who sadly was lost during World War II, on February the 12th, 1945, he was killed in action and is buried in the United States Military Cemetery in Hamm, Luxembourg. He had gone over in 1941, if memory serves me correctly, at Theta Psi Chapter, West Virginia State College Institute, West Virginia.
Okay.
So that it was in the blood. My uncle, George Rayford, who was married to my mother's youngest sister, Josephine Morris Rayford. They were both educators in Charleston, West Virginia.
Okay.
And my uncle George B. Rayford was a member of the graduate chapter in Charleston, West Virginia for years.
So you have a family of Omega men.
Family of Omega men.
So what are some of your fondest memories of undergrad being an Omega man, of grad being an Omega man? What are some of your most fondest memories?
I entered Howard University in September of 1945. And shortly after I was there, I was rushed by all of the 4 fraternities on campus, the Omegas, the Alphas, the Kappas, and the Sigmas. And I didn't really entertain any of the rush coming from any of the 3 non-Omega fraternities. I was only interested in Omega Psi Phi. We had a pledge group at Howard in my freshman year. I believe we had 47 pledgees in my pledge class.
Wow, that's
and
a lot.
I was honored to have been elected as the president of the Lampotis Club at Howard my freshman year.
Wow.
We carried about, I think we carried about 47 pledgees onto the line during Hell Week, the fall of 1946. And when as memory would serve, I believe we lost about 6 or 7 of our members during the hazing.
The process, huh?
The process during Hell Week. But we still carried about 41 new brothers across the line in 1946 Alpha Chapter when I came across.
Wow, wow, that's very interesting. So this is our centennial year. We're here. We're
Yes.
experiencing our centennial year, 100 years in existence. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel very good about it, not the least because my father, 99 years ago, was pledged into the fraternity 1 year after it was founded.
Wow.
In 1912, he graduated from Braddock High School in May of 1912 and matriculated at Howard University in 1912 in September. And the fraternity was just 1 year old then, not quite a year, I believe, when he first entered Howard.
Wow.
And he was in the second class that became members of the fraternity. I have his fraternity pin in my pocket.
Let's take a look at that.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a look at that pen.
I believe that if your sight is sufficient, you'll see that his initials are on the back of the pen, and it looks considerably different from the ones that you see today.
Well, I'm honored to even hold this in my hand.
He's got some stones, I believe, green stones, emeralds, is it?
Yeah. Wow,
If
that's,
you
it has
see-
3 green emeralds.
Right.
I don't know if we can get a close-up of that, a zoom in of
You'd
this.
have to
but
take it right up to the camera, I'm sure.
No, it's fine.
But this is amazing here. And what's this? What year is this dated for?
1912.
1912.
Yes, sir.
And I actually have it in my hand. 1912. This is the closest, and this brother right here is the closest to one of the founders that I'm ever going to get to. And this is an honor to be in his presence.
My father passed on July the 10th, 1971, at West Penn Hospital here in Pittsburgh. And it was shortly after he passed that my mother, who had been the possessor of his fraternity pin for years, she passed it on to me because I was the only surviving son who had become a member of the Omega fraternity. My older brother, as I say, had died in 1945, and Dad died in 1971. And my younger brother, he went to Chicago University, University of Chicago, in 1951, if memory serves me correctly. And he did not join the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I don't know that they had the Omegas on campus at the University of Chicago. He joined a fraternity, Alpha Epsilon Rho, I believe, if I make no mistake.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. So you are currently a member of Iota Phi chapter. What is unique about this chapter?
I believe that we have a long history of Iota Phi chapter. I know that my father became a member of Iota Phi chapter, if memory serves me correctly, in 1922, when he graduated from Pitt Law School. He may have become a member slightly before that. I'd have to look at our history that we have here. But then he was a member of the chapter right on up through the time that I was at Howard University. I can remember him taking me by the various brothers' homes for Omega Psi Phi fraternity meetings while I was still an undergraduate at Howard University. I don't know if any of the brothers here, I know Brother Woods, Leo Woods, that's when I met him, was when I was in Howard University and I was coming back to Pittsburgh, and Leo was active with Iota Phi then. And Brother J.D. Avant, Brother J. Warren Watson, who is still alive and was at a meeting a couple of months ago, they were all active with Iota Phi at that time.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Alexander Nichols. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, good.
Good, good. Tell us about what chapter you pledged. I mean, you came through. What year you came through?
Okay, I pledged. I went to South Carolina State College in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Okay.
And I pledged on April 15, 1966.
Wow. Okay.
And it was real interesting what was going on during that time. First of all, the Vietnam War was hot and heavy.
Right.
And so that was an incentive to be in college. And it was also an incentive to get your grades up. And at the time you had to have I think it was a 2.8 to pledge and a 2.6 to go over.
Wow.
So I mean that's all I was focused on at that time.
How many line brothers did you have?
I had two.
Two line
It was
brothers?
three. It was three of us total.
Yes, I never knew that. That's something we have in common. You know, it's
Right.
three dogs of war.
That's right.
You know? So, and what was your line name?
At that time we didn't have line names.
Didn't have line names?
No.
Oh, okay.
You just went online. Only two of us went over. It was three of us that pledged. One of the guys I never forget that pledged with me, a guy named Benny Blocker. He was an All-American football player.
Okay.
And but he couldn't make it. He didn't go over.
It's not for everyone. Definitely not for everyone. So what were some of your fondest memories as an Omega man?
Well, I think the fondest memory I had was actually going over, crossing the sand, because it was a long struggle. You know, you pledged for over a year, and by the time you went over, it could be like 2 years. And if you pledged during the break, spring break or summer break, you know, you were still pledging. I mean, you know, because I came from Spartanburg, South Carolina,
Okay.
and everybody in Spartanburg were Omegas. In the South, the Omegas was just they were the largest chapter.
Right.
So,
Largest fraternity in the South?
Yeah,
Wow.
largest fraternity. So you pledged a long time. So when I went over, it was a good day.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine
It
that.
was a great day. So
Wow.
that was one of my fondest. And also when I went over, I had the opportunity to go to conclave, and I did meet Bishop Love. I had breakfast with him.
Wow. And what year was this?
This would have been in '68.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
It was, I think at the time there were 3 founders living. And,
Mhm.
you know, he was one of the
And
living.
you had an opportunity to
Yeah,
meet
had
Bishop
breakfast
Love.
with him. It was unbelievable.
I never knew that,
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
I never knew that.
So that was a very fun memory.
And another fond memory for you is your son.
Yeah.
Your son
My
came through
son,
Iota
yeah,
Phi.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. When he
Trey
went over,
Nichols.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when he went over, that was something he really wanted because he had been around it all of his life.
Right, right.
And,
Well, that's great. That's great. So, how do you feel about our chapter? What makes our chapter special?
Well, I've had the experience in several chapters. The chapter in Spartanburg, South Carolina, after Zai. Zai was chapter in Orangeburg.
Okay.
And then I was a member of the chapter in Spartanburg, Epsilon Nu. I was a member of, my job moved me around a lot. So I worked for General Electric Company, and I lived in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And so I became active in that chapter in Louisville, Kentucky. Before that, I was active in the chapter in Cleveland, Ohio. But what was really funny about that experience, I went to Cleveland, just getting out of college, and I was all gung-ho. I wanted to go to a frat meeting, went to a frat meeting, and old heads was telling me, well, you need to join the intermediate chapter, because they didn't want young guys in the graduate chapter. First of all, it was very expensive, so you can't afford it.
Right, right.
And then socially, you didn't have much in common with them,
Right.
So I wasn't too active with the fraternity when I went to Cleveland. But when I went to Louisville, by that time I had a few ducats.
Right,
So
right.
I could hang with them,
Right,
with the
right,
big dogs.
right.
and then moving here to join Iota Phi, I think the camaraderie. I've heard other brothers like Cato and some of the other brothers that have left this chapter and gone to other chapters, and they really clamor to come back here because there's a special connection here.
There is.
Like you
There
take
is.
brothers like Barry Lomson and stuff. It may go away,
Right.
but they home. They feel like Iota
He always
Phi
comes back.
is a home,
Exactly.
and the brothers here give you that feeling, and that's what I think is special and sets us apart, because even if you've been gone for a long time, when you come back here, everybody make you feel welcome, like
That's
you,
right.
like you've been with them the whole time.
Exactly, exactly. That's why you and I are tight.
That's
We thick as
exactly right.
thieves.
That's
We thick as
right.
thieves. One more last thing before I let you go. So this is our centennial year. And we're here, both of us. We're experiencing 100 years of our fraternity being in existence. How do you feel about that?
It's incredible. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime. Not too
You're
many
right.
people will get to experience this. And when you sit back and you're so close to the beginning of it, like the interview that you just had with Brother Livingston Johnson,
Right.
that he a year before the fraternity was founded.
Wow.
I mean, and it's so it spans 100 years, so it really gives you a chance to sit back and reflect. You go 100 years. It's just incredible that the fraternity has been around that long.
That's right.
It makes me feel great that it's an institution, that it will be here 100 years from now.
That's
And
correct.
It's a great feeling.
100 years from now, people will be looking at us on this documentary.
That's right.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with two brothers of Iota Phi chapter, Brother Ernie Groover. What's going on, Groove?
Good to see you, brother.
And Brother Fred Kendrick. AKA Tree Trunk. Brothers, let the audience know, starting off with you, Ernie, the year you were initiated.
2005, fall 2005, Iota Phi chapter, Untouchables.
Untouchables. And what was your number, sir?
I was the deuce.
You was the deuce.
I was the deuce.
Well, that means I have a special bond with you because I happen to be a deuce too, young
Absolutely,
fella.
the deuces
Okay.
are the best.
So once you crossed, how did you feel?
Felt fantastic. It was I call it a long journey. It was inspiring.
Mhm.
It certainly tested us, and it was great when we finally went over the burning sands.
Okay. All right. Brother Trunk.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Oh, well,
Share with the folks here the year you crossed.
I'm still relatively a newbie. I came in June 2nd, 2007.
2007?
Yeah.
And what number were you on your line?
I was the number 3, and I ended up number 2, deuce.
So you're a deuce as well?
Yeah.
He moved
Okay.
up.
He did move up a little bit. All right. And how was that experience for you?
Unlike anything I'd ever experienced as a first generation Greek. So I went, everything was new for me.
Mm-hmm.
Totally unexpected, but once I got started, I had to persevere.
Okay. That's great. What made you choose Omega Psi Phi fraternity?
Well, in undergraduate school, I went to Morgan State University, and Omega Psi Phi was on our campus, but they were not the dominant fraternity on our campus.
Mm-hmm.
Being a groover, Brew Phi Groove
Mhm.
was dominant on our campus.
Let me interrupt you for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
There could be one bruh on the campus,
I
and he
understand.
is the dominant bruh
I
on that
understand.
campus right there. Right?
I-
Now, they may have been dominant, may have had more numbers, but a bruh could be one bruh on the campus, and he will be that
He was
dominant.
And,
Okay?
and that's what impressed me.
Uh-huh.
Now, at the time, I lived in the city.
Right.
So I commuted to school, so I didn't live on campus.
Mhm.
So didn't have the opportunity during undergraduate to pledge Omega Psi Phi.
Okay.
But once I graduated college, had my family, had an opportunity to see the graduate chapter here in Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
Iota Phi, had friends who were Omegas.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a part.
You want to be a
of
part?
Omega Psi
I mean,
Phi.
specifically, I mean, did you see some of our social actions? I mean, what attracted you to this organization? I mean, I know we have beautiful colors.
Beautiful
Definitely
colors, but-
Beautiful colors and.
But you know, it's the work in the community that we do.
Okay, that's what I was
That's
thinking.
really the key.
Mhm.
Really the key is to work in the community, to work with the kids, the
Mhm.
college students,
Okay.
the college tour that we do. I mean, those were the things that really impressed me. I mean, certainly the camaraderie was important.
Right.
But more important was that we could be a beneficial arm in our community.
Mhm.
And I certainly recognize that having adult children, at the time when I pledged, my children were in college,
Mhm.
I saw the need. I see the need still every day.
Right.
And I really wanted to be able to reach out and help some of our kids.
Mhm.
And through Iota Phi and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, it was an opportunity for me to do that.
That's what I'm talking about. Same question for you. Why did you choose this fraternity?
Well, my first exposure in undergrad was with a chapter, Alpha Gamma Gamma, down in Georgia. And they were just impressive, the way the guys carried themselves,
Mhm.
the way they represented themselves. on
Bros
the
can
school.
hop, can't they?
It was that.
They set it out. That's what attracted you, didn't it?
It was that, and
Come on,
just
man.
seriously, just the way they carried themselves.
Right, right.
And
right.
I was rushed by some of the other fraternities, but I was a tutor counselor on the football team, and a lot of those guys were accused.
Mhm.
And I just liked the way they carried themselves.
Right.
But never got the invite, but I'm looking forward to meeting those guys at the Centennial. And, but when I came to Pittsburgh, you know, at that time, 40 years old, I saw an article in the paper where they had identified top 50, you know, African Americans in the city, and in excess of 15 were accused.
Right.
And I was like, that's what I need to be a part of.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of something different.
Right. Because we run things
Yeah, we do.
all over the world.
Absolutely.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Richard Bora Edmondson, better known as RB. I'm sorry, Edmonds. I'm sorry, better known as RB. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Okay, brother. Share with the brothers the year you went over, your chapter, the college you went to.
Okay, 41 years in the fraternity, our great fraternity, and
one of our sisters who's on the Board of Trustees at Penn State University gave me this cap. And that's the Notorious New Chapter, celebrating the 41 years, and reflecting on being so much a part of the Pittsburgh fraternity. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. When I was an undergrad, I was always on the campus and at the frat house because Penn State was in and out at different sessions when Pitt and CMU and Duquesne were in session.
Okay.
So there was always a great tradition of friendship between OSI and New Chapter.
Okay.
And then it perpetuates into Iota Phi. In fact, I really feel proud by the fact that I was one of the brothers who suggested us getting a fraternity house, now Fraternity Center,
Okay.
because years ago, people went from house to house, and then we were meeting at churches and things of that sort.
Okay.
So now we do have a piece of the rock, and it's all good. And I would like to add, I was so influenced by the fraternity because I was raised in the United Methodist Church,
Okay.
and as well you know, our founder, Bishop Love, was our bishop. So what got me was, my uncle was a Beta brother, and I was in kindergarten, and he had a brick with purple and gold and this lettering on it we didn't understand, and then he had a paddle, and at that time there was corporate punishment in the schools. So we were wondering why he had this paddle and this brick, he wouldn't let us touch it and things of that sort. Well, anyway, a couple times his brothers from Beta Chapter came down and they did a step show for us. We're only in kindergarten. And we just were cheering and whatever. But the influence of Bishop Love, he was serious about his job at the 1970 Grand Conclave, which was here in Pittsburgh, and that was my neophyte year.
Wow.
I got a chance to, very sacred picture between Bishop Love and also our, at that time, other founding member, Brother Cooper. So that was wonderful, and just the great, like I said, the bond that we have, and looking forward to the next 100 years. When we came through, it was at a time where they questioned the importance of fraternities because at that time everything was right on, and the fact at Penn State, one of our Omega brothers founded the BSU, the Black Student Union.
Okay.
So it was what kept us going because Penn State was not like Pittsburgh and Iota Phi and OSI, that you could go 2 blocks and you could be in the community. At Penn State, before the interstates and all of that, you were up there. I always told people it was reverse South Africa. So the fraternities made, we were family. You know, it was the extended family, and the brothers of Penn State, a lot of people, my family wanted me, my father wanted me to pledge Alpha because he had a connection with the president of the Alphas at the time.
Okay.
Then he went to the same high school I had went to but years ago, ahead of me, of course. Then a lot of my best friends, being freshmen, we stuck together. Freshman class was thick.
Okay.
Wanted me to pledge Kappa. But I had, you know, they said you have Q in your heart, and if with the song, If I Could Just Be a Q.
Sing it, dog.
Let's hear it.
This is one song I would like to impart. My special sings that, I cannot get that. But I sing off key, so I'm warning you. But this song, I think, will convey one of the spirits.
You're singing to the brass.
Okay.
We are Omega men, here to tell our story, guided by the lamp and star, brotherhood of glory. We've crossed those
burning sands into Omega land. We will always honor the purple and gold. You should hear some of my nine brothers sing that song. But you know what? It's great because, you know, I pledged you sort of like the old school. And so when you see somebody that's in the position he's in, going through it, and, you know, my hat's off not only to Iota Phi and the next 100 years, but the traditions of the second district and just the brotherhood in general. You know what I mean? There's so many stories I can tell. Talk about bringing tears to your eyes. Woo. Like they said, blood, sweat, and tears.
Right. I appreciate that, brother.
All right.
Thanks. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Frank Torbert Sr. Junior. Sorry. But I got his back, he has my back, and that's how we roll. What's going on, brother?
Sure will.
Right.
And just keep in mind, there is a Frank L. Torbert III.
The third. All right.
Who's an Omega man.
Is that right?
Who's an Omega man.
Great. We'll find out about him a little later on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let the brothers know what year you crossed the sands, brother.
Just celebrated year number 19, April 26, spring of 92.
All right.
It was number 3 online, first group in the intake program.
Okay.
Started in November, finished in April.
Wow. And this is Iota Phi chapter.
Iota Phi.
All right. So, brother, tell me about some of your fondest memories as being an Omega man.
Well, probably one of my fondest memories is the attitude overall of the brothers of this chapter who believe in giving back to the community.
Right.
One of the primary reasons why I joined the organization, I believe in giving back, but I think there's always strength in numbers. And when I moved to Pittsburgh in 1973, I associated with all of these guys.
Now you moved from where?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown,
Okay.
Ohio. And knew very little about fraternities and sororities, with the exception of basically who they were. And I'm a first generation Greek in my family as well. In fact, the only degreed individual. But I saw what they did in the community, and rather than give back in a singular by myself, I think there's always strength in numbers. And from that standpoint, I said, why not join an organization where guys who I like associating with, are doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Right.
And so I decided to make that move when they had the intake program.
Great. Your son is also an Omega man, Frankie Jr., Epsilon Kappa. How did you feel when he crossed?
Probably one of the most dynamic experiences. Frankie III has been to conclaves from the time he was a little kid. He's been associated with Omega. He has his godfather is an Omega.
Wow.
He has been, and that's prior to my joining Omega Psi Phi. So I did his test with him. You know, his hands were on my shoulder. And one of the most dynamic experiences I think I've ever gone through. I found out some things just from the questions that he was asked, of how tight our bond is. I thought I knew it, but I found out even more. So I'm ecstatic, he's ecstatic. We enjoy our father-son, but we also enjoy being Omegas.
That's great. I can't wait till my son is able to pledge Omega. He's 10. I have him online right now. He'll be online forever, but I can't wait. The bond that he has with his son, and I see them, it's incredible. Brother, 100 years in existence. How do you feel about that, brother? Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and we're a part of it.
And it feels good. In my 19 years, I've held an executive position, keeper of finance.
Okay.
With my background, accounting and finance. I understand the numbers, and my ability to contribute and enhance that was how I decided to give back, as well as mentoring with younger kids as well. But I think it just points to the fact that we can perpetuate our organization through leadership and through professionalism, a la General Motors, a la General Electric. We can be as dynamic. We just have to educate our own, teach our own, and grow within ourselves. And we will grow within ourselves, but we will also grow as men. So I'm ecstatic about the next 100 years. I think it's outstanding what you're doing in terms of getting comments from young men, and it points to your leadership as well. So
thank you, brother.
I want to congratulate you for that leadership and for that thought process.
I appreciate it. Sure. My man.
Okay. My pleasure. Okay.
Thank you. Now, first, well, you know how we go.
Please, bro.
Brothers, allow me to introduce Brother Rodney Hobson. Brother, let the brothers know what year you crossed, what chapter, and how you felt when you crossed.
Let me put this down for a minute and answer your questions. Let me start off by saying that this symbol right here is very important, and there's some things in it that represent things that I aspire to do. But as we know, this right here also has some things that are not quite right in it. I am as well part of that story of the brotherhood.
Okay, all right.
I came into the frat in March 88, March 20th, 1988, in Roanoke City, Gamma Alpha chapter. But that's not where my story begins.
Okay, well, let's hear it, brother. Let's hear it.
I'm a bruh of Lambda Zeta chapter, University of Virginia.
Okay.
And I know that things are, because of the circumstances around us, we can't go into depth about the circumstances that would lead me from the University of Virginia to Roanoke City in '88. But I have a strong allegiance to my brothers at the Lambda Zeta chapter, University of Virginia, 1973, September 7, 1973, which is when that chapter was founded.
Okay.
As well as I do my brothers in the Star City, Roanoke City chapter, Gamma Alpha chapter, 1988. So I have a lot of love for those brothers there because of the upbringing that they brought me into the frat.
Okay.
I hope I answered your question, dog.
You did answer your question. And how about the love you have for Iota Phi chapter, brother?
Now, you know, it's interesting, bro, because I just gave you some digits, and those are third chapter digits. And I'm a third chapter bro. And I hold no barrier to another brother, bro.
I understand that.
And the reality is, the one who opened the door to this chapter was a third chapter bro.
Is that right?
And he opened the door one afternoon. I was very new to Pittsburgh. I had been in Pittsburgh since '97, '98. And that bruh, one of the oldest bruhs in this chapter, if not the oldest bruh in this chapter, Virginia State, new side chapter, opened the door to me to this house. When he did that and he gave me his digits, I knew that I was absolutely welcome. Now let me just give you a bit of background. That bruh's name, Brother Leo Woods. Brother Leo Woods. He opened the door to me. That's when I knew that I was welcome in this chapter. Now I must admit, bro, I'm currently, as you know, the undergraduate, graduate advisor.
Correct.
To Omicron Psi, University of Pittsburgh chapter. And it's really an honor because the brothers in this chapter have an incredible amount of love that they show to young ones to old ones. And I just love the continual camaraderie in the way that the brothers exemplify themselves. And I'll give you an example, bro.
Okay.
My son right now is 18 years old. He's looking for a job. Do you know who I'm calling?
One of the bros.
I'm calling all of the bros, dog. I'm calling all of the bros. Why? Because I think that it's important for him to see the benefit. He's grown up like the other brother said about having been around bros. But, you know, you have to test bros.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't understand how important tests are. We have to test bros.
Correct.
Right? Like you test the word of Christ, you test the bros to see that they live out to the things that exemplify in our fraternity principles.
Absolutely.
And so those are the people that I'm calling right now to help my son.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not letting me down, bro.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
are not letting me down.
I don't doubt that they would.
No bro has turned his head away from me and said, no, I don't want to meet your son.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one say, yeah, I'm looking out. And that's the kind of love that exemplifies in this chapter, in this fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Now to go back to the third chapter again, the third district, bro, you know that's our founding district, bro.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And because that's our founding district, that's where the centennial is happening in DC, dog.
That's right.
The amount of love that the brothers will show on the mother pearl
Mm-hmm.
is an unreal, it's a feeling that brothers have to continually seek. You know, it's like you're thirsty on a hot day like today.
Bro,
You continually go back to the mother pearl. One has to, it's like Mecca, dog. You have to keep going back to the bros just to get a little bit of thirst. We go back and do our work where we are in Pittsburgh or wherever. But I've been a distance from my brothers in the third chapter, third deep for a while. But you know, I'm
You're going home.
I'm going home, but I also feel really protected and loved by these brothers here in Iota Phi, bro.
Right, brother. Centennial year. I can't wait. How you feel about it, brother? How do you feel?
Some blurbs are going around regarding my chapter brunch in DC, and Lambersady brothers are coming together. Bros said, when you coming for the weekend? I said, I'm coming on Tuesday. I'm gonna be there from Tuesday. Let me tell you why I'll be up here from Tuesday, bro.
Okay.
Me and another couple of bros, 71 bro, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Stillman College, 68. That is Stafford Hood and James Anderson, respectively, both university professors at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. We are currently in the process of we're working on some scholarship around history and really understanding the historical depth of some of the people that we study.
Okay.
All that to say is we go to Founders Library, to the library that Tuesday to use the archives.
Wow.
And so you can just imagine that I'm a kid in the candy shop in the library.
Absolutely.
And so I'll be there with them from about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in the library, stacked in the library, doing some work for the bros, following some stories. They got whose papers do they have there? We're doing educational history stuff. So people like whose papers are there? Not Douglas's papers. Carter G. Woodson's got some papers there.
Okay.
Bruh founders who were presidents of Howard have papers there. Founders, the brother founders have papers there. They're not, obviously that's not where the most are stored. For example, just papers are not all there, but a variety of papers there. And we'll be like kid and candy stores, but pledging.
Oh yeah.
But pledging. Because, you know, one of the reasons why, bruh, and I don't mean to take away from your questions, is that as much as we are celebrating the 100th year of the bros,
right,
we have an incredible amount of challenge yet still to do.
Absolutely.
Our work is not done.
No, it never stops.
The 100th year ought to be an opportunity for us to get ready for another 100. Now, we got major issues to address. We got issues to address around our black men, our black youth, our communities. You know, we continue to lead, but we have more work to do to see that our work in global fashion continues to be understood and felt.
That's a root, dog. That is a root. Absolutely.
I got a song for the bros.
Bro, that's what I was getting ready to ask.
I got a song for the bros. I got many songs for the bros, but I have one.
One that comes.
I have one.
Okay.
Oh, tell me why were we treated so bad.
Zoom, zoom.
Oh, I want to know. Why won't you tell me why I go to bed at 6 and get up at 8? I go to see my big brothers, but I'm always too late. Oh, tell me why were we treated so bad? Oh, I want to know. Why won't you tell me why I go to bed at 6 and get up at 8? I go to see my big brother, but I'm always too late.
That bruh is out. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with brother Andy Frazier. Good evening, Frazier. How you doing, brother? Okay, good. Let the brothers know what year you were initiated, what chapter, and what college you went to.
Okay. I went into the chapter in 1953. And I went to Fayetteville State Teachers College in North Carolina.
Okay.
And there were 3 of us on the line. 2 of them lived off campus, and I was the only one living on campus, which, you know, I caught blank.
We don't have to go into any details, brother.
But, and I enjoyed it. I think it was one of the greatest things that happened while I was at Fayetteville State Teachers College. The chapter was Delta Gamma, and it was the 6th district. 6th district. And then I went to the service and came back and became active in our chapter here.
Okay, Iota Phi.
Iota Phi. And
What do you find unique about our chapter?
that since I've been here, we have some younger guys that have taken over, and that is great because they're even working, making things better, like the formal and Mardi Gras and things like that. They're working on it. They're doing a good job, and I just watch them. They intermingle pretty good.
Okay. Red, Bama, we call him Bama Red. Red, why did you decide to choose Omega Psi Phi?
Well, when I went down to Fayetteville, Irvin Biggs and Jim Boyd was already down there. They're 2 brothers from here.
Right.
And I didn't know them before. When I got down there, I'm from Pittsburgh, so they told me where they were, and then I didn't have too much money, but my brother, who was an alpha boo, he sent me money to go to Cuba, and I always kid him that he knew he went wrong, so he made sure I went right.
Well, you definitely made the right decision, brother.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I just like I enjoy. We have about anywhere from 50 to 70 people come to a meeting once a month, and this is some of the most that we've had, you know. And we have them every month. Yeah. Right. And they also call me Andre the Great because I do magic sometime for the fraternity.
That's right. Well, you've done a lot of functions.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of functions. He's a phenomenal magician, and I'd like to see you make the Statue of Liberty disappear or something like that.
I think you just
See, you see how that is? You know what I mean? Giving the man props, not even want to make me disappear.
you had enough.
No, I have not had enough. So this is our centennial year, and we are both a part of that. It marks 100 years of existence for Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. How do you feel about that?
That's a long time.
Yeah.
I've been in over, let's see, I went over in 53, so, yeah, that's what was that, 57.
It's well over 50 years, brother.
Love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
Good. I mean, it feels good to be a part of something of this magnitude. It's a huge celebration. Our fraternity, again, it's been in existence for 100 years, and the fact that we are here to witness it, it's a once-in-a-lifetime situation. One thing I can remember about you, Red, is when I was online, I lived directly across from your daughter and son-in-law. So every morning, when I'd get ready for work, I'd have to see you because you would take your grandchildren to school.
Okay.
I'm glad you had discretion.
and you were ducking.
Oh, of course. And sometimes I'd see you out there getting ready to get in your car.
You wouldn't come out?
No, I wouldn't come out. No, of course not. I wouldn't come out. That just would be foolish of me. But it was a great experience. I appreciate this chat with you, brother.
Okay.
Take care. All right. Greetings, bros. I am sitting here with a neophyte, a centennial neophyte, Brother Alex Harvey.
Greetings, brother.
Greetings, brother. Let the brothers know what year. Obviously, they know it's the 100th year. You came through Iota Phi.
Yes, yes, indeed.
How many were on your line?
There were 8 of us.
8 of us? 8 of you guys. And what was the name of your line?
The Centennials.
Say that louder,
The
please.
Centennials.
The Centennials.
Yes.
I named these guys. I felt it was appropriate, since this being our centennial year, why not name this line coming through Iota Phi chapter, The Centennials. You're a Deuce.
I am indeed a Deuce.
You are a fellow Deuce.
Deuces run the frat.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell everybody, but see, some people just don't seem to understand that. How did you feel once you crossed?
You know, there are 2 experiences in my life. One is yet to come, and that's to marry my fiancée.
Say her name on camera.
Her name is Aisha Arvin, and she's a Delta girl.
Okay. Great. That's what we need to hear.
All right. And the other was crossing into Omega. Profoundly spiritual experience, profound joy. I felt that I was in the presence of people that were far greater than myself. And it was, without a doubt, one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
So I know you have a short time within the chapter, but thus far, what makes this chapter unique?
I believe the brotherhood. I believe the legacy, the history. Brother Livingstone Johnson, Brother Leo Woods, Brother Jim Boyd, and many others. I think that there's something profoundly unique about Iota Phi chapter. The love of Western Pennsylvania. I mean, you have to consider the historical goings-on of Western Pennsylvania and how inhospitable it's been to African Americans for quite some time. And then you understand that Iota Phi chapter has been the torchbearer since 1925 in Western Pennsylvania in regards to activism, in regards to loving each other in the black community. I mean, it's a profound legacy, and it's one that I'm extremely proud to be a part of.
You pretty much answered the next question I was going to ask you, and that was why did you choose Omega Psi Phi? But you pretty much broke down some of the reasons why you chose this fraternity. You'd like to elaborate on that?
Yes, I would.
I grew up in an environment where there were lots of people who had pledged fraternities and sororities. Both my parents were a legacy, historically black college folks, and I always had the exposure to Omega men. I always thought that Omega men carried themselves in a way that impressed me. I always valued their character, their friendship, and their camaraderie. And when I have to tell this story if it's going to go down in history. When I was at Alcorn State back in 1999, I met an Omega man. His name was Aaron Braxton, and I will never forget him. He was a very good friend to me. One day he was feeling ill, and I had an aspirin, and he never forgot that. And he became a friend and a role model for me. And he inspired me, and I always wanted to pledge Omega, but my father became sick in 2001, actually in 1999 rather, and I didn't get the opportunity because my mom needed me to be at home and help out around the house. So I couldn't dedicate the time that it took to become an Omega. But I hope that at this upcoming centennial, I can find that brother and tell him, show him that I'm an Omega now.
What's his
and
name?
Thank him. His name is Aaron Braxton.
Aaron Braxton.
Yes.
I certainly hope you get that opportunity, brother. Definitely. And I must say, since your line has crossed, within this chapter, you guys have been doing a lot of work.
Thank you.
Recently, you just did a fatherhood initiative.
Yes.
And that was up in what part of PA?
That was in Elk County, Pennsylvania.
Okay, can you tell the brothers what you did?
Well, what we did is we took a group of Pittsburgh City kids up to the Allegheny National Forest to a national recreation area called the Twin Lakes National Recreation Area. It was built by African American men in the 1930s, and it was a very difficult time for them. It was difficult in many respects because, for one, they were isolated. They were in very tough living conditions. They didn't get the equipment that they needed at the time, and so what we did is we took these kids there sort of on a pilgrimage to reunite them with the legacy that was those men, and to make their history public and expose Pittsburgh to that history. So it's something that we're very proud of, and we hope to make it something that continues for many years to come.
Pretty sure we are. We're definitely going to make that an annual thing. We have a lot of brothers participating in that, and that's one of our mandates, and I'm glad you're a part of it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Jesse Jenkins. I went over at Eureka College in Eureka, Illinois, November 22nd, 1969, under Iota chapter. One of the greatest, fondest memories I have being active in Iota Phi was I decided when I retired, my profession was a school teacher for 34 years, but when I retired, I said, well, I want to do something constructive, and I always wanted to participate in the historical Black College Tour. So I had that opportunity, and I volunteered for two reasons. First, I wanted to dedicate some time to the young people because I know this is a difficult time for brothers to get off work and spend that week away. Since I had the time, I said, well, I'm going to take advantage of it. The second reason it was meaningful to me was to be able to experience visiting all those campuses I heard about, Morgan State, Howard University, the Bloody Triangle. It meant the world to me, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. And to have this opportunity to spend that time on those campuses just kind of brought it all to home and brought back a lot of memories, and I took advantage of it. It was a good experience, and I think that was one of the highlights of being part of Iota Phi for me, being to travel on the historical Black College Tour.
My name is Joe Washington. I actually crossed in Charleston, West Virginia in 1992. My fondest memory of the fraternity, particularly with Iota Phi, is just being able to participate in just all the activities that the fraternity, this chapter, I should say, has, and that it does each year. Pittsburgh is a great place. The Omegas or the Qs, we represent well here, and from all the cities that I've lived in thus far, I would have to say that Pittsburgh and the way that Omega represents itself here is well beyond and where our founders wanted it to be. I would say for the centennial, one of the best things also that I like to say about this year was being able to participate in Washington, D.C. at the centennial event. It was just such a blessing to be able to see all the brothers there, to be able to see everybody on one accord, and to be able to get back to what our founders, when they thought about this fraternity and they initiated it back in 1911, just that spirit.
Tony Ringo, spring 2011, Iota Phi chapter. My fondest memory, in my short time as an Omega man, was when I went over March the 16th, and my experience in Washington, D.C. with the Centennial. I'm very excited about being a part of one of the greatest fraternities in the world and just bringing new energy to the fraternity.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Big Bad Bob.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah, Bob's a bad dude.
Yes, I am.
This is my man here,
Old,
and
bad.
he saw me when I was online. And Bob, tell the brothers what year you were initiated with school.
Well, I was initiated in 1970. That's the year I went over. However, back in the good old days, we pledged a year. So I started pledging in 1969, went over in 1970 at Upsilon chapter, one of the pearls, Wilberforce University, Wilberforce, Ohio.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I have a lot of the other guys kiss the ring because they have that 9 chapters like Cha Cha Phi Phi, but we won't go into that.
Bob, what was one of your most fondest memories as being an Omega man? And keep it clean, Bob.
I think, I've been in the fraternity now 41 years, and I have a variety of good memories from the brothers and from just being in the fraternity. As far as pinpointing at my fondest memory, I don't think I really could, because, every time I think I've hit a plateau, I run into a new young brother, like the brothers you've already talked to, younger brothers who are filled with energy, the energy and vitality I once had. Now I'm just old and mean.
And you're not old.
Yes, I am. Yes,
You are mean. Bob, this marks 100 years of fraternity's existence. How do you feel about that?
I feel really blessed just to have lived to see the fraternity reach the centennial. And it's, I think it's a chance for all brothers to really take account of themselves and what they do, how they do, and the way they do it, and make a mark. Not a negative mark. I'm not talking about going writing on somebody's wall. I'm talking about make a mark. Do something positive. Help youth. Do something with the poor. I mean, that's what I think it's all about, really.
Great, great. What makes our chapter, Iota Phi chapter, unique, in your opinion?
Well, I think when we really got rolling again, which would have been probably 1976, there was a hiatus here where we were kind of, the way the older brothers accepted, I was a younger brother at the time, there was no caste system, meaning that it was a situation where you were accepted as an equal. And that carried on through the fraternity with new individuals coming in, individuals coming from other chapters. And it's still a situation where the young, the old get along. You see, I'm sitting here with this young man here. I mean, he just grew a beard like last week, so he's a young guy. And, I'm father time. I just shaved mine off. So you see how well we get along and can interact. And I think that's beautiful.
Before I let you go, man, go ahead and set out a hop.
If you want to see an old man grab his leg, scream, and roll around the ground, I can do that for you.
No, that's suffice, brother. I appreciate you.
Brother Boston.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with brother Skip Blackburn. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
All right. Let the brothers know what year you were initiated, what school you came from.
I was initiated in 1977 at Omicron Psi, University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, obnoxious Omicron.
Obnoxious.
Okay. What were some of your fondest memories as a bruh on the yard?
Well, you know what? I think that I think some of my fondest memories were just the amount of respect and that we used to receive on the yard. I think people had an appreciation for what we were about, and some of the things that we encountered, and actually what we were doing, as a part of the organization. And I think I really enjoyed the respect.
Okay. How do you feel about our fraternity in 100 years of existence? This is our centennial year. How do you feel about that, brother?
I think it's quite a milestone, and I'm really fortunate. I feel blessed and fortunate to be able to experience, because obviously, we won't see 200.
We're not going to see 200.
And so I feel really blessed, and I think that because of the number of years that I've been in the fraternity, I've got to see a lot and experience a lot, and this is just kind of like a sort of like a crowning achievement.
Great. That's good stuff. In your opinion, what makes Iota Phi chapter unique?
I think it's really, I look at Iota Phi as a kind of a melting pot. I mean, there's such a diverse background, age range, experience of brothers in this chapter. And it's funny because I left Pittsburgh for over 20 years. And to leave Pittsburgh and come back 20 plus years later and still see the chapter growing and thriving, and still see some of the same people that were here when I left, and a lot more. I think that's really makes this chapter very unique, because I think that all levels get to interact, and everybody works together and gets along.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you, dog. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Martin Rainbow Hampton. This is a special interview for me, brothers, because he and his partner, Doug Ransall, they actually introduced me to the fold. I used to actually work for this man under a capacity of doing artwork and screen printing for him. And I would see a lot of the fraternity brothers who come in and out, and I saw how the frat operated, how they dwelled, how they corresponded with one another. And he actually introduced me into this illustrious fraternity. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, bro.
Brother, share with the brothers, let them know what year you were initiated and what school you came from.
Well, I was initiated, actually this is my 30th, 30-year anniversary. So thank you, 1981, the spring of 1981, from the Mighty Pi Gamma chapter, PG Pure Gold chapter at Norfolk State University. So, proud to represent Pure Gold, and in 30 years of being a fraternity, I've seen and witnessed a lot of things.
I can imagine, brother. I can imagine. What was one of your fondest memories of as being a young bro on the yard down at Norfolk?
Well,
and keep it clean, Rainbow.
No doubt. One of my fondest memories was really starting to understand what Omega really meant after I crossed and saw the difference between other organizations on campus and Omega Psi Phi. As undergrads, we were taught that service and giving back to the community was most important. We were some of the only young people on the yard that performed community service projects. We participated in all of the administrative events on campus. We held offices in just about every aspect of the function of the university that the undergrads could hold office in. Student government president, running the ROTC, running the intramurals, fundraising, going to the president's banquets and donating money to scholarship funds as undergraduates.
Well, that's impressive. That's impressive. This is our 100th year of existence, this illustrious fraternity. How do you feel about that, brother?
Well, I'm blessed and proud to be a member of this organization. 100 years, like I said, I've been in the organization 30 years, and throughout those 30 years, I've been well traveled. And some of the things that that I love and is impressed upon me through the fraternity is our contribution to the makeup of this country and actually the world. The contributions that Omega men have made to science, medicine, government, those type of things.
Politics, entertainment.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's amazing to me, and I always talk about this to other brothers, that yeah, we talk about being other organizations and us all being black men, and sure we are, and I respect that. But I think that Omegas are born and not made. So with that being said, there's been several times that I've heard people say Kappas, Alphas, no disrespect to them. I would have pledged Omega, but for whatever reason.
Right.
In my 30 years, I've never heard an Omega say, I would have pledged.
You never will.
Another organization, but.
Right.
So that's why I feel Omega men are born and not really just made.
Iota Phi chapter. What's unique about our chapter, in your opinion?
Iota Phi is actually the reason why I stayed here in Pittsburgh. I'm originally from New York. Went to school, like I said, down in Norfolk, Virginia. I actually had an offer to go back down to Virginia a few years after I came here to Pittsburgh for a job with the Veterans Administration. And because of my affiliation with this chapter, I decided I wanted to stay. All the friends that I've made here and the cohesiveness of this chapter, the community service that this chapter is devoted to, which is one of my most precious possessions, and that's why I've always chaired the the social action committee.
Right.
Excuse me. The difference that I've noticed in this chapter, in which every brother that comes to Pittsburgh says, is that the undergraduates, the graduates, that we welcome everybody into this house, and as long as you're about your business, you can stay and contribute and thrive here. So it's always been like that. And you don't have to be. When I first came here, I didn't have money, so financially I really couldn't pay my dues, but I came to work, and the brothers told me that you come to work. When you get things in order, then you pay your dues. So they still welcome me here, although I wasn't a financial paying member at first. I did come in and do my work and my service, and I was welcome in this chapter.
All right. Appreciate your time, Brother Bo.
All right, bro.
All right. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Dr. Herman Jones, my man, one of the most grooviest brothers in the chapter.
No doubt.
No doubt. When I came in, this brother just took me under his wing and taught me all about the funk and everything. Hey, that rhymed too. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm fine.
All right. All right. Brother, share with the brothers, let them know what year you were initiated and what school you went to.
I went to Wilberforce University, and I initially joined the Lampados Club in 1968 at Wilberforce at Upsilon chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. But because of lack of academic progress, I had to put Omega on a 17-year hiatus. And but during that time, one of the things that really was impressive that Omega really helped me understand was the cardinal principles. Up to that point, I was just kind of wild, howdy wild, just running all over the place, no aims, no direction, and almost got thrown out of school. And and all I had was traces of okay, I was a lamp, and I had the 4 cardinals, but those 4 cardinals helped me really to understand, well, what am I supposed to be doing here? And then a few other things happened to put me in a position to do some serious social action. In fact, I started a youth program that lasted close to 15 years after I graduated from college. And I came to Pittsburgh and finished my education with my master's and my PhD in education. And once those things were done, and I had a family, and I still had Omega in my heart, and I just had to finish.
Right.
So I actually came into the graduate chapter here at Iota Phi, and as part of the Triton Force line.
Okay. And who's your LB?
Randy, my man, Randy Brockington and Ken Waddington. There's the Triton Force, and that was 12/6/86, the day we crossed.
Wow.
So it's been like 25 years since then, but close over 44 years since I actually got exposed, and joined the fraternity at that point. So I've seen a lot of very interesting things happen.
Absolutely.
In that time.
Greetings, brothers. This interview here is real special because I'm actually sitting with my ace. This is the way we would be lined up. This is my ace. Salty Dog, Mr. Hassan Sharif. What's up, dog?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good.
All right.
Always good.
We were both initiated spring of '03. Iota Phi chapter. My man here, our tail dog, is Carlton Watson, Goldie.
Gold.
Dogs of War is our line. Brother, what is your most fondest memory of being a brother thus far?
Thus far, I don't know. It's pretty much everything that happens pretty much being rolled up into one. You know what I mean? So far, probably the centennial, because I was there with my LBs and my dean, and we all rolled to the centennial together, straight like that, without a doubt. We had a ball.
Had a great time. Definitely had a great time. This is one of the baddest fraternal artists ever. All the t-shirts that you see on the Eastern Seaboard, and possibly on the West Coast, done by my man, my LB, Salty Dog. This is my idol right here. What makes this chapter unique, in your opinion?
Iota Phi, as far as the eye seen, the most hospitable. No matter where you from, as a bruh, the hospitality here, I mean, and this is what I'm hearing, you know what I mean, from other bruhs.
Right.
It's just the way we treat the bruhs. And at one point, I thought this is how everybody was treated.
Right.
But, you know, they say...
Such is not the case.
Yes, not at all.
Such is not the case.
Iota Phi is very hospitable.
That's right.
Without a doubt.
Bro, before I let you go, man.
Oh, yes, sir.
Set out a brief hop for the bros.
Oh, I can't.
Come on, bro. Hit Super Bowl.
I got a bum...
A bum
knee?
Yeah, right. This guy lifts like 900 pounds and his knees messed up. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, no doubt. Appreciate you also.
Greetings, brothers. I am sitting here with brother Randy Brockington. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. Fantastic. Good, blessed. How are you, brother Bob?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking.
Great.
Brother Randy, let the brothers know what year you were initiated, what school you went to.
Okay. I was initiated into Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated December 6th, 1986. Fall 86 was my line Trident Force here at the Iota Phi Graduate Chapter. I did, though, pledge at Lincoln University, Beta Chapter, in 1971. So I was an eternal lamp for 15 years. And never lost the ambition, sight, or goal that I had set forth in 1971 to become a member of this organization. And in 1986, I achieved that goal. And I'm very proud to say that it's something that I will never ever forget and will last with me forever.
Thanks, brother. What was one of your fondest memories of being a man of Omega?
Fondest memories?
Yes.
Well, let me go through some of the things that we've done in the course of our learning the Omega path and walking with the brothers. I think I've witnessed a great deal of camaraderie, fraternal love, brotherly love, strength, and faith to take on a challenge, which we've had many, to set our ambitions very high and to achieve those, many of which we are witnessing today. I think as I reflect upon my experience both as an undergraduate when I did go through a pledge process unsuccessfully, through my graduate process, I've reflected upon what it took for our founders to vision this organization in 1911. And the fact that there was already at least one black fraternity, and the fact that these three young men, with the guidance of their faculty advisor, were able to envision an organization that would be different from those that existed, and also have the willingness to persevere through creating an organization on a campus where, you know, perhaps it was not supported. But they combined something that I always think about all the time, is they combined youth, 3 young undergraduate students, with their faculty advisor, a more seasoned gentleman, and they put their minds together, young and old, to create an organization that we celebrate 100 years later.
Right.
That's a fond memory for me. Certainly how our Pittsburgh chapter has grown, how we've accomplished the many things that we've set forth. When I came into the chapter, a primary goal was to purchase a fraternity center. We've accomplished that. A goal was to create a 501c3 organization that we could use as an arm to solicit funds and to build the social action programs. We've done that.
Absolutely.
And I think even important for this community that where we are located, to be a beacon of light for so many young people and residents in the community who know us at this fraternity center as a positive reflection of what black men can do in the city and around the world.
Okay, my name is Ron Scott. I pledged at Edinburgh University, which is Zeta Pi chapter. But in my process of becoming a brother, a member of Omega Psi Phi, there were many times where we were required to travel to Iota Phi, Pittsburgh chapter here, May 12th, 1989. So it's been some time, not as much time as other brothers have in the fraternity, but it's been substantial in my estimation. But I had some very fond memories of the fraternity and my experience that I wouldn't trade for the world. I've learned so much in the 20 plus years that I have been a member of the organization. But one of my fondest memories, I guess the fondest memory I would have is a road trip, you know, what we call a road trip, that the bros took, say in 1996 to the Million Man March. And it was really a moment that I'll never forget, man, because it was probably about 20 brothers, man, and we left Pittsburgh, and it took us some time to get out of Pittsburgh, man, but it was from the time that we left to the time we got there, man. Myself, Tony Scott, Jamie Younger, Sean Rich, Ramon Hart. I mean, it was just brothers, man, and forgive me if I leave some brothers out, but again, it must have been 15, 20 of us, man, that went down to Washington, D.C., and it was just a very memorable moment, man. It was just one of the things you never forget. The Greek picnics, man, and then to say, last but not least, you know, there's many experiences in between there, but even just recently, the Centennial in Washington, D.C. It was historic seeing so many brothers that I've met over the years from all over the country. You know, brothers from down in Florida, in D.C., and New York, man, and just seeing them in D.C. and seeing the brotherhood, man, how it's grown. And being actually at Thurkill Hall, getting to go in to the actual room where this great fraternity was founded, man, on Howard's campus, man, in the science hall. It was just amazing to say, wow, this is where, you know, these young brothers, man, that were undergraduates along with their professor said, man, we're going to come up with this organization. 100 years later, we see the contributions to society, you know, domestically and abroad, man. So it's just amazing. I'm thankful, I'm honored to be a member of such a great organization with great men who have been torchbearers, you know, have shined their light for others, man. And by the grace of God, I say, hey, we'll have another 100 years, man, and beyond. So that's my story, and I'm sharing it. I'm glad to share it.
Thank you, Brother Scott. Brother House.
Bomani House, Spring 09, Trey Dog, Iota Phi, Pittsburgh, 2nd D. Greatest, fondest memories?
Fondest memory thus far.
It's hard to put it, but I could easily say that the Centennial celebration down in Washington, D.C. this summer, summer of 2011, was absolutely by far the most fondest of memories since I've been in the fraternity. I can't take away from the moments I've had with my LBs, Damon Macklin, Corey McMurtry, Ray Zellers, and Reese, Big Al Reese. So many years, and I gotta also say that road tripping, different bros that I've met along the way from different districts, where you can have a balance of having good times with good brothers that are about community uplift, are about the uplift of black people who really understand what the Panhandle and all the Greek lettered fraternities and sororities about. But ain't nothing like being a bruh,
Absolutely.
Ain't nothing like being a bruh. And so to all the bros I've met since in the short period that I've been a member of this beautiful fraternity, Jersey, New York, Maryland, Florida, and definitely going back to my undergrad school, HBCU, Norfolk State University,
Okay.
Spartan Pratt, going back to with those bros down there, Pi Gamma. I mean, it's just nothing but love. I also got to speak to the love of, so there's a lot of the party inside that we can do, but I also got to speak to the love of and the fond memories that I've gotten from being able to network and make business moves that ultimately are about the uplift of our people. So I love this fraternity. And
it shows, brother.
Q South Phi till I die.
All right, brothers. I appreciate your time. Thank you, brothers.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Jake Wheatley. I graduated from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University as well as the University of Pittsburgh. I crossed 2001, fall 2001. I was part of the Nasty Nickel. And my fondest memory as a bruh, I think I'm still developing those memories right now, but I think the biggest thing that I remember or recall is just the brotherhood of some of the bros that I've developed a lasting bond with. This gentleman to my left and the work that we've done together and continues to do, and others like him. I definitely appreciated the experience of crossing with my four other brothers, Greg Spencer, George, and Michael Rail and Derek Russell. And so that would be, I guess, my memory. And when I crossed Iota Phi, I crossed Iota Phi, fall 01.
All right. Next, brother.
Okay. My name is Jermaine Younger. I was made Beta Chapter Spring '93, and my fondest memory up until the Centennial right now would have to be my fondest memory. I mean, just seeing that was like, it was the most beautiful thing. But before that, I would just say crossing the sands and bringing in the next line of neophytes. There was just nothing, just the experience of just running the yard and just seeing young men go through the same process you went through, and just to see this thing keep going and going and going is like, that's one of the fondest memories I can always have. I even still get chills to this day when I see new brothers coming to the fold. So that would probably be my fondest memory in the fraternity thus far. But the Centennial was off the chain. I mean, I don't know how to express that. The Centennial was like, it was just a mecca. If you missed the Centennial, you definitely missed your fondest memory, because that was the most beautiful thing that I've ever been a part of. I mean, it was, I almost wish we can just rewind the tape and just do it all over again. But just to see that many brothers, and I'm talking about brothers I was running into that I ain't seen in 15 years. It was like, wow, like just to see that many brothers and just all dwelling in unity together was just like, I don't think no Centennial of no other organization will ever ravel the brass. I mean, it was an Omega party.
Appreciate it, bro.
Did you have a good time down there, man?
Oh, God, I was... Man, no sleep on the road trip.
Okay, Brother Hunt.
I am the youngest up here. I'm the youngest, as you can tell by looking at these brothers, I'm the youngest man up here. I didn't say I was the most handsome, but I am the youngest up here. I had the fortune of crossing the sands as a graduate student. I went over here, Iota Phi, the fall of 2005. Of course, I was the #1 in that wonderful line that rivals these lines.
What line might that be?
That was the Untouchables.
The Untouchables line.
Yes, that was the Untouchables. Let me say something about that line.
Al Capone?
No, let me say something about that line. That line came in with merit.
Mm-hmm.
Got humbled quickly.
Yes.
Got humbled quickly. Humbled quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that, to me, is probably not the most memorable point, but it's a significant kind of growth for me at my age.
Mm-hmm.
I say that with all honesty. But probably the thing that stood out the most in my mind is when I could measure, when I could see that I made a measurable contribution to this organization.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I think, when I finished the first year as a keeper of finance, being within the fraternity after 2 years. And it was a market for me. It was, no one could see what I felt, because I felt that there's something that I contribute to a long-standing organization that was able to see and take advantage of my expertise in the area of finance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that brothers up here feel the same way about some quiet, contribution they made that sort of captures them in the night or is not as measurable as my second most great moment was, like my brother here said, being down in the chocolate city when it turned purple.
I like that.
It really
I like that.
blew my mind.
Very
I've
nice.
never seen anything like that. I don't think people have seen anything like that. I would love to have an aerial of Washington, D.C. when all the brothers came out, young, old gold, royal purple, all over the city, but typically royal purple, all over the city, on the golf courses, in the suburbs, downtown, in the shops, in the restaurants, in the bars, in everybody's mind. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And he said it best. It's more than nostalgic. It was something that I felt was the reason for being a part of this wonderful organization. I'm proud to be such a small part of something that's been around 100 years.
Absolutely.
And, I've learned from you.
Damn, 100 years.
I've learned from you. I learned from you. And the models out here are ongoing. We've got so much talent. We've been blessed in many ways. And if you think about it, we got this continuum that's this wide, this deep, and we're only here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much we get to go.
That's right. Thank you, brothers. I appreciate it.
Hey, hold up, bro. You gotta get this shirt for the centennial right
Okay.
here. You gotta get that. Then you gotta zoom in on the back, and y'all can put that just as one of y'all features or something. Y'all zoom in on the back. Did you see that?
Moving fools since 1911. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Q Hall.
Yeah.
All right, brothers. Thank you.
Derek Heck, fall 2001, Upsilon Psi. That's Florida A&M University. One of my most fond memories as a bruh is probably one, remembering the 1986 conclave. The bruhs marched in Washington against apartheid, and I remember marching with the bruhs, not as a bruh, but on my father's shoulders. We marched the streets of Washington, D.C., and I can remember that, and I think probably the other most proud moment was when I crossed. My father was the bruh who unveiled me to campus. So those two moments I can recall as being very, very fun. There are many others, but those two stand out.
How do you feel about this fraternity celebrating 100 years?
I think it is a huge milestone. Longevity is not always guaranteed in organizations like ours. There are many things that start and don't finish, and they start off with a bang and then they wane. But Omega has been an organization that has evolved and I think adapted to the times, and I look forward to being a part of the next 100. I may not be there to the end, but I look forward to being a part of the history that we write for the next 100.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Brother, on the end.
My name is Ray Zellers for Iota Phi Spring '09. That Iota Phi is the grad chapter here in Pittsburgh. My fondest moment is probably as a GDI, having the chance to fellowship with some of the brothers of Omega Psi Phi, and then crossing and then meeting back up with them at this conclave, this centennial, and being able to fellowship with them on the other side.
Okay.
And feeling the love and the camaraderie.
Absolutely. How do you feel about this fraternity celebrating 100 years in your apartment?
It was moving. It was a beautiful thing. Seeing all the brothers attending at one place at one time, seeing the sea of purple and gold.
All right. Last but not least, this brother here is a centennial brother. Introduce yourself.
Roland J. Criswell. I was made in Omega in 2011, the centennial year, Iota Phi. I was the ace on that line, and my fondest memory of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated is being at the conclave and witnessing at my very first conclave the amount of brothers and amount of fellowship and amount of friendship that was existing at the centennial for a new member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Was a very moving experience.
All right. Thank you, brothers. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Keith Clark. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, brother. Yourself?
All right, good. Brother, share with the brothers and let them know what year you crossed, what school you went to, and what chapter.
All right. I crossed in 1983, spring. Iota Phi chapter, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right here. The college I attended was Tuskegee Institute. In Tuskegee, I graduated in 1981. Omega has been a very powerful part of my life since I crossed in 1983. It has opened up many doors for me, man, and love to be here.
What was some of your, give me one of your most fondest memories as a bruh, just experiencing the life of an Omega man?
One of the fondest memories is this room, when we completed this room, and moving the frat house into what it is now, and watching the brothers' faces as it unfolded, and seeing what we have accomplished as just one stepping stone to be able to go a lot farther.
Brother Clark, you were also a former bossless of this chapter. How was that experience?
Oh man, that's one of a kind. You know, it's good to have it's good to be a bossless when you have brothers that are wanting to work with you, like yourself, and do what is needed to make Omega what we are. 3 years I stood in that seat of bossless.
Wow.
And,
this is one of the brothers I've learned off of. He exercised a lot of leadership when he was under the capacity of the bossless of this chapter. I learned a lot the way he conducted his meetings, the way he interacted with the brothers, and the way he conducted business. This man is no joke when it comes to business, and I've learned a lot about just dealing with the brothers in general. Keith, this fraternity is 100 years old, and we are here to witness this. How do you feel about that?
Man, I tell you what, it was the most inspiring, enlightening event that I ever went to when I went to DC for the centennial. By me being a district officer, you meet a lot of people all over the district. But it was just a blessing to see the brothers from your chapter come out in the mass that they did. I mean, I think we had about 110 brothers that came up from Pittsburgh to walk in the steps of our founding fathers, and that was awesome.
One last question before I let you go, brother. What makes our chapter unique? Iota Phi chapter.
I think one of the biggest things that makes our chapter unique is the togetherness that we have, the oneness that we have with the younger brothers and the older brothers, how we mesh. You know, there's no
no barriers.
No barriers at all. And the younger brothers don't look at us as their daddies. They look at us as their brothers, and that's why they feel free to come in and work with us and get things done. And hopefully that type of relationship and rapport will continue, because what it does is it builds them later on too, because they're going to take our chairs. One of these days they're going to be where we're sitting, and it gives them the knowledge and the insight of knowing, hey, this is how we did it in Iota Phi, and it was right, and it worked. And if we can continue that process, there's no split here, and that's the beauty of it. So.
All right, you heard it from Brother Clark.
Hey,
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure meeting you, brother.
All right. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Willie James. How you doing, brother?
Great, my brother.
All
Taking
right.
one day at a time.
That's what I'm talking about. Brothers, share with the brothers and let them know what year you were initiated, what chapter, and what school.
Cheney State Beta Gamma.
BG, brother.
December 72. Evolutionary 18 was our line name. I was number 8.
Wow. What were some of your fondest memories being a BG bro in the yard during that time?
Pledging period.
Well, we got to keep that clean. We can't share everything, but
I happened to be on the basketball team at Cheney at the time that I was pledging. And it was just the night that we went over, we had a basketball game that night.
Wow.
Our coach was John Cheney, who coached at Temple. He told the brothers, he said, you better make sure, it was 3 of us that were online. He said, you better make sure they be back, be able to play. We played, and we came back late. It was after 12. It was like a sea of people, man, outside this building. And they said, they're here. And it was like parting the seas, man.
Wow.
Letting us through to get in the building.
That had to be a great experience.
Oh, it was just awesome, man.
Wow. That had to be.
You know, they let us off the bus from the game. We all ran to the room, threw our stuff down, and ran over with our bricks and stuff to the building. And I'm saying, folks was just cheering, man.
Wow.
They're here. So we ran on in and completed the series.
It's great. How do you feel about our fraternity experiencing 100 years in existence and being a part of it?
It's the greatest. It's the greatest. I can tell you another story, man. Okay. When I was at Cheney, there was a social club that I pledged called 307 Beta. And it was a male and female club. Right?
Okay.
So most of the males were Omega men. After they finished the social club, they became Omega men. Right? So when we pledged the social club, they called they underhandedly said, you guys are gonna be pledged like little lambs. Right? So went through the pledge period, long story short, went through the pledge period, and there were two brothers, Ricky and Rodney Turner. They're frat, but they were 307, and they had twin cars, they was twins. I had never waxed a car in my life, man. And they threw me on the car, I'm waxing it in the sun.
Wow.
And these guys was like this, right? I'm scratching, trying to do. And I started to say I wasn't gonna go and make, because I said they're gonna kill me. I was slated to be the president of the MIK.
Wow.
I had been in their meetings, and it was like when it was time to go, they came to get me. Said Omega's in my heart.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time, brother. Brother James.
Thank you.
All right.
My name is Clayton Hogan. I attended Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. That's Beta chapter. I went over at Lincoln. I went over in 1967. That's a little longer than day before yesterday.
I would say. And
I'm Ron Prevett. I attended at North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. Pledged at the mighty Bloody Mu Psi chapter in 1976.
All right.
Young brother.
Definitely young brother, but older than I am. Clay, what was your most fondest memory as a bruh? Being on the yard, Lincoln University Beta chapter.
I think it was just the camaraderie in Beta. I think it was the stepping and the singing and the affairs that we gave. It was just a whole aura.
Mm-hmm.
It was like something you go over, and all of a sudden you're just like arrayed in purple and gold.
All right.
And it just felt good.
Absolutely. Ron, your take.
Well, my fondest memory was, it's not a good, pleasant memory because I was actually pledging at that time, and one of my line mates at North Carolina A&T, Jesse Jackson, went to school there, and
wow.
During part of our pledge program, we had to get signatures for prominent Omega men, and he actually got Jesse's signature.
Wow.
And Jesse actually came and saw us when we were online. That
is a fond memory. That's monumental there. Absolutely.
Another memory that I have is Ron McNair, the astronaut who got killed on Columbia. He actually went to school there, and he was in the chemistry department. My degree is in mechanical engineering.
Wow.
And I actually got a chance to meet and fraternize with him.
Oh, that's great. Brothers, this year marks 100 years of our illustrious fraternity, our existence. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel it's a mile mark. It's an organization that was started and it has persisted. It's getting stronger, and it just goes on and on. It kind of reminds me of the poem that we had to learn when I was pledging. It was called the Bridge Builder.
Mm-hmm.
And there are always brothers that come along, and what they do is they just keep that bridge built, not for themselves they've crossed, but for those who come behind.
Absolutely.
And that's what Omega's been doing. That's how we have persisted, and that's how we will endure.
Great.
Yeah, what I'd like to add to that is just think about it. Black organization that's been around for 100 years. One of the things that comes to mind with me is another poem that we learned when we pledged, just like See It Through.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we've been here for a century. That's a great achievement, in my opinion.
Right. I appreciate it, brother. Before I let you go, I'd also like to acknowledge a very special brother, special to Clay and to myself, Brother Joe Hogan, who is my chapter brother. And he was one of the brothers who actually introduced me to the fraternity as well, along with Martin Hampton and Doug Ransall. May this brother rest in peace. He's in the Omega chapter right now, but I'm quite sure he's up there stepping, looking down and smiling. And I know when he saw all the brothers assembled in Washington, D.C., I know he's quite happy. So on that note.
My brother Joe Hogan was a true Omega man. He was dedicated to the frat. He served in several administrative posts within the chapter, KRS, bossless for years.
Yeah, he was my KRS when I was bossless for this chapter. So, yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you.
All right. Greetings, brothers. I'm sitting here with Brother Ed Meeks. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm fine.
All right.
Fine, Brother
Good
Brandon.
to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Brother, share with the brothers, let them know what year you were initiated, what chapter, and what school you went to.
I went over on February the 14th, 1971. I went over on the first line that was initiated at Edinburgh. It was Edinburgh State College. It's Edinburgh University now. And the brothers from Erie took me over along with Omicron Psi. So I pledged under Omicron Psi, the University of Pittsburgh, and then also Iota Phi. So that was on each side of my brick, OSI and Iota Phi.
All right, great. Brother, give us an example of one of your most fondest memories as a brother.
I guess probably one of the most fondest memories of a brother is when I went over.
I didn't know when I was going to go over because it was like a surprise. And the brothers had played a trick on me, which is usually the procedure when you just don't really know.
Right.
And I was blindfolded, and we were told to get ready to come to an event. I mean, we didn't know. We just had to put on a suit and a tie, and we were blindfolded. And we were read in at the event. And when I took off the blindfold, I saw a brother in front of me who was my special. And I was so happy I cried. And his name was Ed Harrison, Buzzy Harrison. And in fact, his nickname was Lamp Killer. And I had intentions on really getting him because he was stroking me a little too hard.
All right, bro. We don't have to share that with the brothers, but
I just seemed to. I was just so overjoyed, and I just cried and put my arms around him and hugged him. And I guess, and then wearing the sweater, a frat sweater,
right.
After I had went over, it just made me feel whole, and it was really a sense of jubilation.
That's great. So we are now experiencing our 100th year of existence as fraternity. And you and I are here to experience that. How do you feel about that, brother?
Well, it's like many things. I mean, I think it's a revelation for me to be in a fraternity for 40 years. It's a revelation for the fraternity to be in existence for 100 years.
Absolutely.
It's also another revelation for me to even see a black president. And I never thought that would happen in my lifetime. So, I really feel honored and special that these 100 years has brought me to a sense of realization that, I'm really thankful for being a brother and seeing so many new brothers come into the fraternity and support Omega Psi Phi the way that they're doing it.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time.